Doing today, if you can't hear me that well, it's because I'm in the car with the AC on. I've got the sun shining in with the sunroofs, but I have the AC on and the windows up because I don't want to hear the outside noise. I didn't want to, I was gonna go sit in the park and talk to you guys, but there's people around that probably go, "What is this crazy lady doing?" But I wanted to be outside because it's beautiful outside. Finally, spring is sprung, I think. I don't know. We'll see. It's hard to tell, right? In this day and age. This season has been very, very strange, to say the least. Have you had to deal with difficult people lately? Don't you find, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I have noticed that with this spiritual shift happening, whatever it may be, and look at this rash I've got. Now, this is weird. I had it all across here, and I thought maybe it was a stress thing because I got shingles on my back, and I'm sure that was from stress. But then that went away, and then this came back, so if anybody can tell me what that is, it's very, very painful. Anyway, it's not just a dry skin patch. It's extremely painful. But anyway, that's off topic. I just saw that and figured might as well ask. I know I have a lot of people that watch that are in the medical field, so maybe you can tell me something. But anyway, back to what I was talking about. Difficult people have been around forever. I mean, we all have different personalities. Some personalities clash. I know communication is something that I'm constantly teaching people. There are different ways of communicating, and if we can learn how to communicate, I think a lot of the problems that we face or the conflicts that we have wouldn't exist. For instance, I've noticed with some people, they get offended over something, and you're like, why are you offended? Because they're believing that whatever's going on with you is about them. And of course, if it wasn't, you have no idea what they're talking about, but then they insist it's about them. So one thing I want you to think of before I even get started on this is, if you find yourself offended by something, step back for a moment and make sure that person really communicated what you thought they communicated. I think social media has a big play in this problem today, in this day and age. And I'm not even talking about the shift. I'm just talking about in general. Because honestly, people that go on social media, some people will tell you their whole life story, what they had for dinner, what time they got up, blah, 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 blah. Other people only share certain things. The majority of the people are going to only tell you what they want you to know. So life might look grand. I can't tell you how many people have said to me, wow, it looks like life is going excellent for you. And they're judging by my social media. Or then there's those other people that post those phantom posts, right, where they're like mysteries. It's like, I'm so frustrated. And then a million people, what's the matter, blah, blah, blah. There's that kind of thing. Then there's the cryptic messages that people put out. I'm the type of person, if I have something to say to you, especially if I love you and care about you, and even if I don't, but especially if I love and care about you, I'm going to communicate that to you directly, whether it be telephone call, letter, message. I'm not going to go on public media, social media, or on a video or whatever and say some cryptic message. When I post like in general stuff, like be kind or, blah, 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 I'm usually talking about maybe something I witnessed or something I saw on TV, or just an observation. I'm usually not talking, I'm never talking about somebody personally because, like I said, if I have something to say personally to you, I will say it. And I will say it privately. So, but I have run into, people getting offended or whatever, thinking that I'm talking directly about them, and that'll never happen with me. But it does happen with some people. And honestly, you can never tell what's going on in somebody's life via their social media. Even if they are the type of person that posts everything, from breakfast, lunch, dinner to whatever. So-and-so said this to me, I'm here, I'm there. you really can't tell what's going on with someone via social media. Sometimes people reach out for help via social media and say, I'm so depressed, I need help. But don't judge by people's social media, because 9 times out of 10 you're going to be wrong. Okay? But have you noticed in the shift that I find that people's natural self is coming to the surface? It's like they are no longer able to put the different masks on. Now, some people, believe it or not, I don't know how, are unaffected by this shift. And I have to tell you that if you're unaffected, you might want to look at where you are spiritually, because this is affecting most everybody. And I have noticed there are some people that are unaffected. And if they're unaffected, I honestly think they might be sleeping. Seriously. Or maybe just numb. Maybe dead spiritually. So it's something to look into. If you have not noticed anything, if you haven't experienced anything in the last year or two, as far as like a difference, you might want to look at yourself and just see why. Reach out, ask other people. But for most of us, we've experienced something. And I think I've heard a lot of people say, people seem different to me. My best friend seems totally different. My mom, my dad, my brother, my sister. And I do think that in part is different people's different levels of where they're at as far as the truth, what they know, what they see. And we all have, I think, an obligation to each other. Maybe we don't, by law, but I feel like morally we all have an obligation to each other to share the truth with kindness. I just believe that. I believe that random acts of kindness can change a life. And it's not just, hey, I did this, aren't you proud of me? First of all, your left hand shouldn't know what your right hand's doing. That means don't brag about it. Not even to yourself. Forget about it as soon as you do it. It should become such a natural thing to serve your fellow man. The more spiritually minded you become, the more eternity minded you become, the closer you become to God, the more you seek the truth, the more you find the truth, the more that you'll find that it's a natural thing to want to serve, because as you serve God, you serve your fellow man. It becomes a natural thing. And yeah, sometimes you bring it up like in reference to something else, but normally just forget about it. Don't worry about what you did. Because if you're going to do it just to get some kind of recognition, or just to give yourself a pat on the back, you're doing it for the wrong reasons. But my whole point in this video is, have you noticed that some people are just very difficult? And again, there have been difficult people since the beginning of time. But I find that people aren't able to mask themselves lately. So what do you do when you run into a difficult person? Well, first of all, don't snap back. You might be giving them the satisfaction. Maybe that's what they're trying to do, is get you to snap back, so don't snap back. What I like to tell people, a good rule of thumb, is count to 5. So take it, somebody offends you or somebody says something awful, and even before you walk away, deep breath. 1, 2, 3, 4. If you have to do it to 10, do it to 10. Do 2 breaths. Don't choke yourself. Before you say something, before you think something, before you jump to a conclusion. Because that's going to give you enough time to step back. Believe it or not, 5 or 10 seconds is going to give you enough time to step back and say, okay, I'm not going to just jump on this. One reason is maybe they're trying to provoke you. Don't give them that satisfaction. Next is, you'd be amazed how many people don't even realize when they're in the wrong. That says something about them and their own growth, but it's not for us to say, hey, you need to grow, right? Especially if they're still in the worldly system, they probably don't know better. I know a lot of times we project onto people, like especially husbands and wives or whatever. Sometimes people do it to everybody, but it's like, well, he or she should have known how that was going to make me feel. Well, maybe they should have, but don't automatically assume that they do. And then what you want to do is, if you got to decide, am I going to respond at all. Don't react. Reactions, you're going to feel bad about after. You're not going to be happy with how the outcome came out. So you want to respond, not react, which is why you take that breath and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I can speak. Okay? So now you're going to respond, not react. And your response should always be the way that you believe that God would do it. And not even the way you believe that God would do it. The way He's shown us how He would do it. Does God ever, tell us it's okay to be angry? Yeah, absolutely. He gave us that emotion. And there is such thing as a righteous anger. And if somebody is against God, blasphemous, being totally nasty, or straight up doing something that is not of God or evil, you don't have to take that. You walk away from that. Remove yourself. Now, there's a rule of thumb to first, approach somebody privately. It's somebody that you love, so say they're going down the wrong road. And I'm talking they're doing things that are horrible and against God. But it's somebody you love and care about. Approach that person personally. If they don't take that, gather another person that also knows them together. You don't want to attack them, but you want to gather somebody else and approach them together. If that doesn't work, then you want to find a person of authority, your pastor, somebody, a spiritual teacher, somebody that they see as authority. Put it before them with that person. If they still don't listen, then you have to just walk away. Now that's talking about a brother or sister, a spiritual brother or sister. If this is a worldly mindset person, approach them personally and privately. Don't ever, there's some things that are better than winning an argument. If you're winning an argument or making your point by degrading somebody or by humiliating somebody or putting somebody down, it's not worth making your point, okay? It's better sometimes just to walk away. If they're not willing to listen, even as right as you, right, you're so right, it's not worth it. Just walk away. Just walk away. So that's one thing you can do. So if it's a spiritual brother or sister, you want to approach them first. If that doesn't work, you want to approach them with 1 or 2 other people that love them, another spiritual brother or sister, and then, go to the line of authority. If it's a worldly person, approach them personally. If that doesn't work, walk away. Another thing is, like I said, so think before you react, respond, not react, I'm sorry. You don't want to react. You want to respond. But you want to think before you respond. You don't ever want to say anything to anybody else that you know will hurt them. You can say truth without being hurtful. And the truth may hurt them. The truth may offend them. But you don't want your words to offend them. You don't want to be offensive. If the truth is offensive to them, so be it. But you don't want to be offensive. Does that make sense? Another thing is, like I said, just try to understand that not everybody communicates the same way. Being critical of another person never works. Women seem to have a hard time with that more than men, I think, because we tend to treat our partners like our children without even realizing it, especially women who have had to take care of themselves ongoing for years. It's very easy, if you love someone, to try to control them. I'm guilty myself. And you're doing it out of love, and you're saying, why don't you just do this, because you know that it's probably the best way, but we have to, with love, back away and not try to control the situation. Another thing is listening is so important. If you are so desperate to get your point across that you're not listening, you need to step back and you need to say, okay, I need to listen to this person. Let me listen. They may not even be sharing information. Listen to them. Pay attention. There's other ways of listening other than words. Watch them. Like, say it's your spouse and they're not talkative. I've had, in couples therapy, people say, well, he doesn't talk to me or she doesn't talk to me. Pay attention to their feelings. Pay attention to how they say things. Pay attention to their actions. Because in listening to someone, you may have a whole new perspective. So sometimes you need to just walk away, and there's nothing wrong with that. But do me a favor, if you're trying to grow spiritually, walk away in love. Now, if somebody, like, raped you, raped your children, killed somebody you love, betrayed you, you don't need to go back if that person wants to come back. But forgiveness is for you, it's not for them. Okay? So you need to walk in forgiveness. And if it wasn't something that will cause that much more harm, be open to, reconnecting at some point. You don't have to. It depends on each individual circumstance. But, so walk away if you have to, but walk away in love and forgiveness. If it's a situation where it's difficult to walk away, it's a coworker, it's a spouse, it's a child, it's a best friend, and you're kind of stuck in that situation, or maybe they belong to the same church as you, or the same organization as you, or, like I said, the workplace, and you can't just walk away. Detach your emotions. That's why we count to 5 or 10. Detach your emotions and respond in the most loving, kind way that you can. If somebody needs help, or, you find, they're cranky because of this, don't automatically assume that they need whatever you think they need. So many times when people need help, sorry, my arm's hurting. So many times when people need help, especially those of us that have issues with control, will offer only what we think they should have. They might be saying to you, I need $10. And you're like, actually, you need to eat. Here's the food. Listen to what they said. They just said they need $10. Don't judge that. If you're going to help them in the way that's most beneficial to them. If the food is what they really need, not the $10, and you know that, give them the $10 and talk to them about the food. You know what I mean? There's nothing worse than somebody saying, no, you need this, and if you don't take what I'm going to give you, then forget it. It's different if you don't have the $10. You see what I'm saying? But if you have it, and they're saying this is what I need, and you say, well, I have that, but I'm not going to give you that because I think this is what you need, you are totally disregarding what they're saying. So you're not treating them as an equal. I hope this helped a little bit. So anyway, let's go over it real quick and then I'll kind of let you go. So you want to respond, not react. You want to take some time, deep breath, and take some time before you give any kind of response. If you must walk away in love and forgiveness. If you cannot walk away but you know you need to detach, then detach in love and forgiveness in the most kind way possible. Don't criticize, don't assume, and listen. Those are some good, some people are difficult regardless, but it's really hard to continue to be difficult when somebody won't allow you to hurt them. Because those people that are really difficult, they're hurting inside, whether they know it or not. And sometimes they're hurting others because that gives them pleasure. So if somebody doesn't allow them to do that, eventually they're going to surrender. They're either going to go away, or they might realize that they're being a jerk. You can't change anybody else. All you can do is change yourself, and those that will love you, or even those around you, even if they don't love you, they have two choices: to either change and grow with you, or to remove themselves from your life. So work on you. Jesus says to take the plank out of your own eye before you work on the speck in your brother's eye. And what he means by that is just to look in the mirror first. We all have our issues. Just be kind to one another. And you know what? Today, if you're watching this video, try to do at least 5 random acts of kindness this week. Tell me how you feel about that. And if you're one of those grumpy people that, isn't very good at communicating, step back, look at yourself, and say, why am I doing this? Why? Because you know what? It's not everybody else's fault. Yes, somebody hurt you. Somebody hurt you along the line. We've all been hurt. Every last one of us. And I'm not here to say, hey, suck it up. But some of us have been hurt worse than others. But to walk around being grumpy or being virtually like unable to communicate with anybody, you're doing yourself a disservice. Not only are you pushing people away, maybe hurting them, but you're keeping yourself blocked up. No man is an island. All right, God bless you guys. Hey, did I tell you lately that I love my YouTube followers? God bless you guys. I really hope everything's going well. It is that time of year where donations are desperately needed. If you can't, you can't. No big deal. But if you can, please go to GoFundMe.com. Please help my friend. That's my GoFundMe page. Or PayPal.me/Light Insights. If you can't do either one of those, if you don't like GoFundMe, you don't have PayPal, please message me if you'd like to donate. I'm going to do all kinds of raffles because it really is needed right now, desperately, for some different things that I'm doing. So if you'd like to help and those options aren't good, and I am doing raffles, and you know what? If you buy a full session now, whether you have it now or have it within the next 7 days, I'll give you a free half hour. How's that? All right. Just pay for it today, have it within the next 7 days, or have it today, and I'll give you a free half hour. You can give it away, you can give it to somebody else, or you can keep it for yourself. But if you keep it, whoever gets it, it needs to be done within the next 2 weeks or 30 days if it's for yourself. All right? You guys take care, and God bless you. I hope miracles happen. We're in that season. God can do anything. Trust Him. Really trust Him. Hey, guess what? If you're worried right now, you're not trusting Him. Trust Him. Trust Him. Good thing's going to happen. All right, love you guys.